We are coming to you live via Facebook streaming, via YouTube streaming, and also via Skype online. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming. Vigyan, Bhairav, Tantra. Earlier I spoke on 4 techniques of breath movement. Now the next 5 techniques are techniques of attentiveness. Out of this, one technique was given to Greek philosopher Pythagoras. So, Vigyan, Bhairav, Tantra, techniques of attentiveness. The 5th technique is attention between eyebrows. Attention between eyebrows. Let mind be before thought. Let form be filled with breath essence. This cannot happen without attention. Let form fill with breath essence to the top of the head, and there shower as light. So you have to keep your attention between the eyebrows with your eyes open or closed. Mind is before thought, because mind is a mechanism of thinking. You have to focus on 3 fronts, and the form fill with breath essence to the top of the head. And when these 3 things happen, there showers light. Shiva tells Devi, the next technique of attentiveness, I will mention of these 5 techniques first, then give the explanation of each one of these one by one. The 6th technique, when in worldly activity, we engage in the worldly activity unconscious. So Shiva says, when in the worldly activity, let your attention be between 2 breaths. And so practicing, in a few days, be born anew. It appears to be difficult, but it is not so. Seventh, with intangible breath in the center of the forehead. As this reaches the heart center of the moment of sleep, have direction over dreams and over death itself. When the breath is in the center of the forehead and it reaches the heart center at that time, during the moment of sleep that is unconscious, have direction over your dreams and death itself. 8th technique, with utmost devotion, center of the two junctions of breath, with utmost devotion, center on the two junctions of the breath where two breaths meet, and then you come to know the knower. Ninth technique, lie down as if you are dead, enraged in wrath, stay so. Or stare without moving an eyelash, or suck something and become the sucking. Meher Baba used to do this technique. He used to remain lying down on the bed and stare at the ceiling. When the Greek philosopher Pythagoras reached Egypt and he wanted to enter the secret esoteric school of mysticism, he was refused. And Pythagoras was one of the finest minds ever produced. He could not understand this. He applied again and again, and he was told unless he goes through a particular training of fasting and breathing, he could not be allowed to enter the school. Pythagoras is reported to have said, "I have come for knowledge, not for any discipline." But the school authorities said, "We cannot give you knowledge unless you are different. If you are as you are now and knowledge is given to you, there will be misuse of it as you see around, amidst the politicians and people who are in the authority. And really we are not interested in knowledge at all, we are interested in the actual experience," the school said. No knowledge is knowledge unless it is lived and experienced. So you have to go on a 40-day fast, continuously breathing in a certain manner with certain awareness on certain points. There was no other way. So Pythagoras had to pass through this intense training, and after 40 days of fasting and breathing, aware, attentive, he became, and he was then allowed to enter the school. It is said that Pythagoras said, "You are not allowing Pythagoras in. I am a different man. I am reborn. You were right and I was wrong." Because then my whole standpoint at that time was intellectual. Through this purification, my center of being has changed. From the intellect, it has come down to the heart. Now I can feel the things. Chinmanan says that man is a feeler, thinker, the three realms that we have, PFT he calls it. P, perceiver, we perceive things, we feel and think. So from thinking you have to be a feeler. Thinking to help someone is one thing, and out of compassion when you are to help someone is a different matter. Through this purification, Pythagoras said, "My center of being has changed. Normally man operates through the intellectual center, or the center of feeling, that is heart or compassion. From intellect it has come down to the heart. Now I can feel things. Before this training, I could only understand through my intellect, through the head. Now I can feel. Now truth is not a concept to me anymore. It is not going to be a philosophy, rather an experience. It is existential. What was that training that Pythagoras went through? Pythagoras was given the fifth technique that was given to Pythagoras. It was in Egypt, but the technique was Indian. The technique was Indian. It was a part of Vigyan, Bhairav, Tantra, the fifth technique of the sutras, and it related to the techniques of attentiveness. Attention between eyebrows. Attention between eyebrows, let mind be before thought. But in most of the cases, it is thought that is sublime, it is important, and it remains in the forefront. Mind goes almost like mind, which is a mechanism, almost goes in oblivion. First, attention between the eyebrows. Let the mind be filled, let mind be before thoughts, and form fill with breath essence to the top of the head. There shower as light. This was the technique given to Pythagoras. Pythagoras went with this to Greece, and really he became the fountainhead, the source of mysticism in the West. He is the father of mysticism in the West. This technique is one of the deep methods. Now let us go into the steps to understand this technique. Attention between eyebrows. Modern physiology, scientific research says that between the two eyebrows is a gland which is the most mysterious part of the body. This gland is called pineal gland and is the third eye of Tibetans. It is known as Shiva Netra, the eye of Shiva. What is the eye of Shiva? The eye of Tantra. Between the two eyebrows exists a third eye, but it is non-functioning. It is there, it can function any moment, but it does not function naturally. You have to do something to open it. It is not blind, it is simply closed. The technique to open the third eye, if you take your finger and you simply tap it here, you will begin to feel a very subtle sensation, vibration. Keep your eyes closed and attention between the eyebrows. Then focus both of your eyes just in the middle of the eyebrows. Focus just in the middle with eyes closed, as if you are looking with your two eyes. At that center. And give it a total attention to it. It is one of the simplest method of being attentive. You cannot be attentive to any other part of the body so easily as to this. It is natural and very easily you can be attentive. Just keep your eyes closed and put your attention in the center of the eyebrow between the two eyes. Breathing naturally becomes normal. It begins to go to the solar plexus. You cannot be attentive to any other part of the body so easily. The gland, this way, the pineal gland absorbs attention like anything. And if you give enough attention to it, both your eyes become hypnotized with the third eye. They become fixed. Normally, one cannot remain without blinking the eyes. You look at any person. Very rarely, and for that matter, one whose attention is fixed between the eyebrows, the fifth technique, only he can remain sitting down with hours together and his eyes will not blink. It is said blinking of the eyes relaxes the mind, but it is not so. Without blinking the eyes, you feel relaxed. There is no tension. When the attention is between the two eyebrows, this gland absorbs the attention. If you give attention to it, both your eyes become hypnotized with the third eye and they become fixed. That is what happens in meditation. They become fixed and they cannot move. If you are trying to be attentive to any other part of the body, it is difficult. This third eye catches the attention, forces attention, and it is magnetic for attention. So all the methods all over the world have used this. It is the simplest to train the attention because not only you are trying to be attentive, but the gland itself helps you in this process. It is magnetic. So the attention is brought to it forcefully and it is absorbed. It is said in the old Tantra scriptures that for the third eye, attention is the food. It is hungry. It has been hungry for lives and lives together. No attention has been given to it. If you pay attention to it, it becomes alive. This is the only way to activate the third eye. The food is given to it, and once you know that attention is food, once you feel your attention is magnetically drawn towards it, and once you start it, within a few sessions you will start feeling kind of an intoxication. Attention is magnetically pulled, drawn, attracted, pulled by the gland itself. Attention is not difficult thing then. One has only to know the right point. So just close your eyes. Let your two eyes move just to the middle and feel the point. When you are near the point, suddenly your eyes become fixed. In the later stages, you do not have to close your eyes, and it happens. When it becomes difficult to move them, then you know, and then after some time it happens that you do not want to move it from there. It is like a self-intoxication. When I sit down in my office or a studio like this, the body does not move. When it becomes difficult to move, then you come to know that you have got the right point. Attention between the eyebrows, let mind be before thought. If this attention is there, then for the first time you will experience a strange phenomenon. For the first time you will see thoughts running before you, and you are the witness to them. It is just like a TV screen or a film screen. Thoughts are running and you are witnessing it. Once the attention is focused on the third eye center, you become immediately witness to your thoughts. Ordinarily, you are not witness to your thoughts. Witnessing to the thought means you are not identified with those thoughts. If anger is there, you become anger. If a thought moves, you are not the witness. You become one with the thought, identified, and you move with it. You become the thought, you take the form of the thought. When sex is there, you become the sex. When anger is there, you become the anger. When greed is there, you become the greed. Any thought moving becomes identified with you. You do not have the gap between you and the thought. When the focus is on the third eye, suddenly you become a witness. Through the third eye, you become the witness. Once your attention is there, focused on the third eye, you can see thoughts running like clouds in the sky, or people moving on the street, on a busy marketplace. You can use this as a meditation. Sometimes you stand up at the busy corner of the road, lean on the corner and watch what it is happening. With the attention on the third eye, you become witness. You can see thoughts floating on the inner sky like these clouds floating in the sky, or people moving on the streets. You are sitting at your window, looking at the sky or the people on the street. You are not identified. You are aloof, watcher on the hill. At times, I sit down outside the door, watching on the street, noise, cars passing, people walking, all kind of things happening, and you are completely unattached to these. And if anger is there, you can look at the anger as an object. Now, you will not feel that you are angry. Instead, something strange will happen. You will feel you are surrounded by the cloud of anger. You are surrounded by the cloud of anger, but you are not the anger, because you are not identified. And if you are not anger, then anger cannot control you. It will become impotent. It cannot affect you. You remain untouched by it. Anger will come and go, and you will remain centered in yourself. This is the technique of finding the witness in you. What is the witness? Witness is the attention between the eyebrows. Let the mind be before thought, and with mind being before thought, look at your thoughts. Now you encounter the thoughts like clouds floating in the sky. Let form be filled with the breath essence. Immediately you will notice your breath has slowed down tremendously if you sit down like this. When I am during these sessions speaking to you through live streaming, this is what happens. I am not aware of I am aware that breathing is there, but it is neither haphazard, but instead it is slow. Eyes are fixed. No thoughts floating in the sky. Now you look at your own thoughts, and you will now encounter your thoughts. Let form fill the breath essence to the top of the head, and there shower as light. When attention is focused on the third eye center between the two eyebrows, two things happen simultaneously. One is suddenly you become a witness, and this can happen in two ways. You become a witness, and you will be centered in the third eye. Try to be a witness. Whatsoever is happening, you try to be a witness. You are ill. The body is aching and painful. You have misery and suffering. Whatsoever, be a witness to it. Whatsoever is happening, You feel the pain because you identify with it. Now be a witness, be an observer. If if witnessing becomes possible, you will be focused in the third eye. The vice versa can also happen. If you are focused in the third eye, you become suddenly the witness. These two things are part of one. So, first thing, be centered in the third eye, and there will be a rising of the witness self in you. Now you can encounter your thoughts. This will be the first thing. With your attention focused in the third eye center, witnessing has born in you. Now you can encounter your thoughts. This will be the first thing. Then the second thing, that you can feel the subtle, delicate vibration of breathing. Now you can feel the form of breathing, and this is the very essence of breathing. First, try to understand what is meant by the form and by the essence of breathing. Two phrases are used: let form fill with breath essence. What is form and what is breath essence? While you are breathing, you are not only breathing air. Science says that you are breathing only air, just oxygen, and other gases in their combined form of air. They say you are breathing air, but Tantra has a different view. Tantra says breath is the vehicle, not the real thing. You are breathing prana or life force or L and Vayate. Air is just the medium. Prana is the content. You are breathing prana, not only air. Modern science is still not able to find whether there is anything like prana, but some researchers have felt something mysterious. Breathing is not simply air. It has been felt by many modern researchers. It is important to mention the name of William Reich, a German psychologist, and he calls this energy as orgone energy. It is nothing else but prana. He says while you are breathing air is just container, and there is a mysterious content that flows with it, and he called it orgone or prana or Ellen White, but it is subtle. Really, it is not material. Air is the material thing and the container is material. But along with that, something subtle, non-material is moving through it. The effect can be felt. When you are with very vital person, suddenly you feel a certain amount of vitality arising in you. If you are very sick person, you will feel as if something has been taken out of you. That is why it happens when you go to the hospital and you return, you feel tired. Because you are not aware there. You are walking through the wards to reach to the person whom you have gone to visit. Along the way, it is like the beggar sitting down looking for attention, and you are not aware that time. Your energy will be sucked. This is not. Have you ever wondered why do you feel tired when you return, as if there is no life in you? When you return from the hospital, you feel that what you saw there, and because of that, no. I can go there, but I will not feel afterwards. You are being sucked from everywhere. The whole hospital atmosphere is ill. And everyone there needs more Alan Vaite, more prana, more orgone. So if you are there, suddenly your prana begins to flow out of you. Why do you feel suffocated sometimes when you are in a crowd? Because the crowd is sucking your vitality. While you are under the sky in the morning, under the tree, suddenly you feel something surging in you, vitality in you, the prana. Each person needs a particular space. If that space is not given, the prana is sucked. William Reich made certain experiments, but he was thought to be a madman. Science has its own superstitions. Is not only the mystics are superstitious, scientists are also superstitious, and science is the very orthodox things. Science cannot feel, yet there is anything more. Science cannot feel yet that there is anything more than the air. But the Indian mystics have been experimenting this for centuries. You may have heard of or even seen someone going into samadhi. Samadhi is state of cosmic consciousness, or underground samadhi for days together when air is not penetrating. It is said when man went into underground samadhi in Egypt in 1880 for 40 years, those who had buried him had died because he was to come out of his samadhi in 1920, 40 years afterwards. In 1920, no one believed that they could find him alive, but he was still found alive. He lived afterwards for 10 more years. He had been completely pale, but still alive. And there had been no possibility of air reaching to him there. He was asked by the medical doctors and others what was the secret of it. He said, "We do not know. We only know this, that prana can enter and flow anywhere. Air cannot penetrate, but prana can penetrate." Sometimes you come across a situation when there is no air, or when you feel that you are not breathing, as if breath has completely stopped, but the life force, the Ellen White, continues to flow into you. And this happens through the attention on the third eye. Once you know that you can, this is what it is happening. Earlier on, you are depending on the air, somebody to bring this to you. Now, with this attention on the third eye, you can suck the prana directly from the atmosphere without any container. Then you can go into the samadhi for centuries even. When I sit down, that I do every day for a certain period of time, as if there is no breath movement. Eyes are fixed, representing that attention is not there. The thoughts either are not there or they're just floating like clouds in the sky. By being focused in the third eye, suddenly you can observe the very essence of breath. Essence of breath, not breath. This particular technique is my total experience. By being focused in the third eye, suddenly you can observe the very essence of breath, not breath, but the very essence of breath, organ or prana or life force. And if you can observe the essence of breath or prana, you are at the point where the jump, the breakthrough happens. Sutra says, let form fill the breath essence to the top of the head. And when you come to feel the essence of breathing, prana, just imagine that your head is filled with it. Just imagine. No effort is needed. I will explain to you how imagination works. When you are focused on the third eye center, imagine, and the things happen then and there. If your attention is focused on the third eye, this is how the tawajjuh is given. When you are focused in the third eye, imagine, and whatsoever you imagine will happen then and there. Now your imagination is just impotent. You go on imagining and nothing happens. But sometimes, unknowingly, even in ordinary life, things also happen. You are imagining about your friend and suddenly there is a knock at the door. You say it is just coincidence that a friend has come. Sometimes your imagination works just like this coincidence. But whenever this happens, now try and remember and analyze the whole thing. Whenever it happens, then you will feel that your imagination has become actual. Go inside and observe. Somewhere your attention must have been near the third eye then. Whenever this coincidence happens, it is not a coincidence, it looks that way because you do not know the secret science. Your mind must have moved unknowingly near the third eye center. If your attention is in the third eye center, then your imagination is enough to create any phenomenon. The sutra says that when you are focused between the eyebrows, you can feel the very essence of breathing. Let form fill. Now imagine that this essence is filling your whole head, particularly the top of the head, the thousand petal center, the sahasrara, the highest psychic center. And the moment you imagine, it will be filled there at the top of the head. Shower as light. This prana, the life force essence, is showering from the top of your head as light and will begin to shower. And under the shower of the light, you will be refreshed, reborn, completely new. This is what is meant by rebirth. We'll continue on this in tomorrow's session. Until then, take care and do have a pleasant day.